So I just got done watching Strange Darling, a movie I've never heard of and was not on my radar whatsoever, and yet it became one of my favorite movies of the year, if not my favorite movie of the year. Let me put it this way, if Mad Max Fury Road is a modern example of one of the greatest action films of all time, then Strange Darling is a modern example of one of the greatest thrillers of all time. This movie is a 10 out of 10, 5 out of 5, 2 thumbs up, whatever metric you rate movies on, it is all of those things. But just to simplify it even more, I think this movie is a fucking masterpiece. And it's interesting because, in the 90s, there was a huge wave of, independent filmmaking. And this is where we got the rise of filmmakers like Spike Lee, Quentin Tarantino, Wes Anderson, Steven Soderbergh, and Robert Rodriguez, just to name a few. And this movie is kind of cut from the same cloth. And what I'm trying to say here is that this movie feels like it was taken from the 90s. This movie is fresh, it's bold, it's interesting, it's intense, it's exciting, and, it's also fun. So Strange Darling, I'm gonna keep it brief here because I'm dead, like the less you know, the better. And let's just say that there's a woman who's escaping a guy who's trying to kill her. I'm just gonna boil it down to that. A woman who's trying to run away from a guy who's trying to kill her. And what's so badass about this movie is how it's structured. Like, this movie is not structured in the way a normal movie is. Like, I don't want to spoil too much, but let's just say that it does not adhere to the normal ways of like how you would structure a movie. It is doing different things with the narrative, and I was like, whoa, this is really cool. It's not like it hasn't been done before, but it's been so long that I've seen a movie structured like this where I was like, oh, this is fun. This movie is having fun. And I want to emphasize that the whole having fun thing. Like, when I say the movie's having fun, I'm not just saying like, oh, it's a fun time at the theaters. Like, it is a fun watch, but it's like it's made by a director who's clearly having a blast, and he's doing things differently and he's having fun. There's text on screen, the narrative is all wonky, silly music choices. Like, he is clearly having fun, and again, like, I just think this was the most fun I've seen a director have as a first-time director. And man, there are so many twists and turns in this movie and red herrings. It's like, this is one of those movies where it's like, as you're watching it, you think you know where it's gonna go, but then the movie takes a left turn, you're like, holy shit, we're going down this road? Like, this is amazing. But I will admit, there is, a pretty big reveal about halfway through the movie, and I kind of assumed that's where we were going, like, early on. Like, early on, I was kind of like, I think I know where this is going, and it turns out that is where the movie ultimately went. And in a different circumstance, I think that I would probably critique the movie in a harsh way, because it's never a good thing when an audience member is in front of your movie. However, the difference is that when other movies do that, when they give that big reveal, and it's like, you already know it's going to happen, the movie treats it like it's smarter than you, where it's like, haha, this is the reveal, I'm smarter than you, you didn't catch that, did you? And it's like, of course I did, you fucking idiots, I guessed it like 10 minutes into the movie. But in a movie like this, the reveal isn't doing that. It's not saying, haha, see, we're smarter than you couldn't figure it out. It's not doing that at all. Like, the reveal in this movie, I struggle to even say that's like a big reveal, because it's just kind of like, it just happens. Like, and I thought that was so refreshing. It's not a movie talking down to you. It's just like, okay, here's all the information, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, here we go. And man, we gotta talk about acting, because holy shit, Willa Fitzgerald, who was the lead in this movie, she does the best acting performance I've seen all year. Like, holy shit. Dude, there's a scene at the end of the movie where there's just a shot that holds on her, and there's no dialogue. It's just her facial expressions, and it is the best acting I've seen all year. It is like, her performance is a fucking revelation. And you know what sucks? You know what's a fucking shame? The Academy Awards will not recognize Willa Fitzgerald whatsoever. This movie will not be recognized at all. And I'm just like, ugh. Like, as horror fans, I'm assuming you're a horror fan, you clicked onto this, how many times do we have to like go watch a horror movie and be like, yes, Toni Collette or Mia Goth, incredible performances, and yet they never get the credit they deserve. And you know what? Willa Fitzgerald is part of that pantheon of great horror performances. Like, Willa Fitzgerald in this film she is the reason to watch this movie. If anything else, go watch it for her performance. It is incredible. And then there's Kyle Gallner, man. I've seen him pop up here or there in some random stuff, but he is phenomenal in this movie. Like their dual performance, I want to say it's like the best acting I've seen all year, but unfortunately, you know, this is the year where Kinds of Kindness came out, and Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone was also a pretty damn good, you know, duo acting. So I don't know if I would say that this is better than Kinds of Kindness, but I will say, you know, if I single out Willa Fitzgerald, she is the best actor I've seen all year. And you know what? Strange Darling is one of those movies where it's like, do you know those people that are like, they don't make movies like they used to. Movies now suck. And it's like, well, have you seen Strange Darling? And it's like, no, what is that? It's like, well then, you know, watch Strange Darling and then come back and look at me in the face and say that movies aren't made like they used to and all movies suck nowadays. Like, this is the prime example of like a fucking awesome movie. Like, sure, you kind of have to try a little harder to find this thing, but you know what? There are movies like this that come out outside of maybe the Hollywood system that are just phenomenal. And again, you know, you can judge me or make fun of me all you want, but I think this is a modern masterpiece. It is one of the best thrillers I've ever seen in my entire life. It is so good. If there's one movie I recommend at the height of your list, Strange Darling is number one. And I'm trying to be vague here with the plot. I know I'm just kind of like praising the movie without really talking about the movie, and I'm kind of doing that purposefully because, again, I don't want to say too much, because the less you know about this movie, the better. The less you know about the reveal, the less you know about the plot or how it's structured, you know, the less you know, the more enjoyable experience you have. So I'm kind of tiptoeing about talking about specifics of the movie, but just trust me, like, this feel like, in my opening when I talked about 90s cinema, if you were around in that time and loved those kind of movies, you loved Reservoir Dogs, you loved Bottle Rocket, you just like that era of like that 90s, you know, independent cinema, then you really owe it to yourself to watch this movie. This, like I said, this movie feels like it was made in the 90s, and it's so good. So yeah, I know I've said so much with saying so little. This is a kind of a weird review, but you know, I'm begging you, I implore you, I will come to your house, kick your fucking door down, and drag you to see this movie. It is I want to say it's my favorite movie of the year, but it's kind of hard to make that declaration because then people are like, what? But I don't know. If I'm being honest, I think this is my favorite movie of the year. This movie was just a breath of fresh air. It was so amazing. Please go check this out if it's playing in the theater near you. I highly recommend it. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's a 10 out of 10. I think it's a must watch, you know, and if it's not playing, you know, at the theaters near you, you know, bookmark this movie, pay attention to Strange Darling, so then when it hits VOD, you know, watch it immediately. I know I'm going to buy it. I'm going to watch it again. I think I'm going to go back to the theaters next weekend to check it out. So yeah, I'm going to end it there. Strange Darling, it's incredible. Have you seen it? Have you not seen it? Am I crazy? Did you just think it was okay? Are you excited about it? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to know your thoughts. And until the next time, I will see you on the next one.